Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shekhar, and I'm your host today, taking you through the presentation number one. And of course, we will have Ajay from Etag who will be taking you through the next presentation in terms of the offering. Just 1 minute. Yeah. So the agenda. The idea here is we are looking at manufacturing. We are all in this manufacturing business and doing various activities. See what we do day in, day out, and a lot of challenges, a lot of issues that we may be facing, our users may be facing, the organization itself may be facing. And let's look at some of the areas which may be of interest to us, how we will be able to handle them in a better fashion, what others are also facing in their organizations, in their locations, and then some of the areas which are affecting the manufacturing process itself, various aspects of manufacturing process, and then how we will be able to handle those requirements going forward when we have so many new things coming into the, I would say, the scenario, the manufacturing scenario itself. So from that point of view, we will have, we'll see what the analysts feel, how they view on the manufacturing scenario going forward at this point in time, of course, going forward also. We will also briefly see about Infor, who we are, what we do, and how we will be able to help your organizations come across all these challenges and face the challenges that you may have within the organizations at various levels, and then help you out in those activities. And of course, we will look at the summary itself. Now, most of the times, when you look at the manufacturing thing itself, there are a lot of aspects that come into picture in terms of trends affecting us day in, day out. There is a cyclical activity that happens, and then there are a lot of things that come into the picture in terms of digitization. We might have heard about, let's say, Industry 4.0, and somebody will say that we have new aspects coming in, let's say the factory of the future, and somebody will say smart manufacturing, digital manufacturing. We may have physical manufacturing. Some organizations call it renaissance, and there are a lot of terminologies being used. The idea being, everyone, in fact, you look the analysts also, there are the view that the manufacturing industry is on the threshold of some kind of a structural shift, Now it continues to evolve into into one where, say we have fewer boundaries, lesser borders. Say we cannot have hard divisions of labor, assets, line of businesses that we may have. Now, increasing global competition and let's say the reduced spending also across different regions are something that is affecting manufacturing, and manufacturers are required to develop creative business models which will be able to handle all these requirements. There are a lot of best practices for achieving higher operational efficiency which most of our organizations look at, and these continue to evolve with a great speed. Increasingly, organizations are being forced to look into these activities or these areas which may impact our organizations in some way or the other, and that would require our organizations to be highly flexible, have some kind of an advanced system or systems in place which will be able to fully support various activities that we may do within the organizations and provide higher levels of efficiency, speed, and the productivity that we may expect from various resources that we may have within the organization itself. Now, one of the important thing is, while we are looking at the trends itself, if you look at some of the reports that have come forward, Gartner, which has presented this kind of a details, say when they have posed these questions to a few of the organizations, they feel there are increasingly organizations who are looking at reducing costs to improve their margins, and significantly there are areas where they are also looking at investing into new technologies which may be able to help them improve the growth across different, I would say, different regions, different product lines, and things like that. So what that would mean that increasingly there's a lot of emphasis being laid by organizations on costs, on innovations, and making the organizations much more global, and of course looking at areas which will provide them with the benefits of achieving these areas, these activities itself. That's something that Gartner has mentioned in one of their recent reports. Now, one of the important thing is when you're looking at various aspects of manufacturing itself from a structural shift that we were looking at, increasingly we are looking at organizations having new technologies coming in picture. Now that could be as part of, let's say, the digital manufacturing, or this could be the industry 4 standards that we may be looking at, or the smart manufacturing that some organizations are talking about. We are looking at how we will be able to achieve that, and increasingly most of the manufacturers are looking at various characteristics, or you can say the key attributes, which are important, so important for addressing these requirements from a future manufacturing perspective. Now that could be how agile my organization is, or how automated can I make my operations, or how networked I am within my line of businesses, or let's say with my other stakeholders, internal and external to my organization. Now that's something that will be important for most of the manufacturing organizations. Now this will necessitate internally also some kind of a disruption, I would say, the way we work with our processes, the way we do our businesses internally. Now that would define, I mean, so we would need to come out with some kind of a business models for each of the organizations itself. Now the long-term benefit, when you look at the disruptive kind of a business that we may be looking at, it will provide us the ability to manage processes in an I will say autonomic fashion, or terminology being used is self-healing way. What it does, most of the times we are looking at a capability where the system or the tools that we already have automatically diagnoses the issue and then provides the necessary solution or area that needs to be fixed for improving our manufacturing processes. Now there are various tools that are already available, technologies that are already available. We call them as SMART, SMART, modular, agile, recyclable, all those kind of things, and also the digital solutions that we have with us at this point in time, which makes us much more agile, which makes us much more responsive, and a lot of activities getting automated. It makes us much more efficient in things we are doing going forward, which may be helpful for making this better, I would say, customer experience when they're dealing with our organization itself. Now, when you're looking this about this opportunity of, let's say, self-aware product itself, there's a whole lot of devices which you are working with at this point in time. Now, we may know some of these things that are directly linked with our manufacturing processes or other operations within the organizations. Some of it we may not be aware at this point in time, but then, of course, they are playing a major role in terms of handling the requirements that we may have within the organization itself. That would mean, so we may have some kind of an Ethernet, let's say some kind of sensors, some kind of a digital meters that we may have within the organization, some kind of a MES systems, or it could be SCADA systems that we may have. Now, each of those solutions or the devices that we have, has huge amount of data which is lying over there, which needs to be taken out and then made available to various sets of users for making some kind of an intelligent decision making. Now, while the usage of these devices is decent enough at this point in time, so there could be situations where we may not be using the data from such devices in a much more meaningful fashion. But as we see that there are a lot of analysts who feel that as we move forward, there is every possibility that the usage of these devices will increase, and then it will necessitate that we get the data from these devices, the learnings from these devices, to make much more meaningful analysis which may be useful for users themselves and also the organizations who may be working with such devices. Now, apart from these devices, the other areas which may be of relevant for us, some of them we feel, if you look at some of the transformation itself from a manufacturing perspective, that we were at first platform where so we were handling everything from a PC perspective, and then we had some kind of a client-server technology which was allowing us to do various activities. Now, increasingly, we might have heard about these terms, SMAC or MACs, which allows cloud-related data, big data, social collaboration, the mobility part. So there are a lot of aspects related to it, which are making a play within our organizations and which are increasingly becoming, I would say, these kind of devices and these kind of technologies which are making the way, working with these new way of working in the manufacturing scenario itself. Now, when we have these kind of details coming into the system, increasingly organizations will be looking at how we will be able to benefit from such things. And when I know when you look at some of these analysts, when they look at that particular area also, increasingly, I mean, so one of the industry specialists, when they did an analysis, 40% of the manufacturers, they believe that the smart manufacturing using all these technologies, they already are there, and and they are within the reach of implementing them within their organizations. A large section of these manufacturing companies have already put into place, including in India, where we have bigger organizations have already adopted these kind of technologies. Now, this could be related to various big data related analytics. This could be related to the collaboration technologies that may be relevant for them in terms of bringing everyone on a single platform, and also the mobility part. So there are a lot of organizations who are already using this mobility part for accessing data, for disseminating information to various users, internal and external to their organizations. Now, there are a lot of other organizations who also feel that they have got significant benefit. Now, when you look at some of the reports that are already published, which tell that let's say there is almost around 80% plus organizations who have reported increased efficiency because of use of these new technologies that have come into their organizations. Almost around 50% of the organizations have reported a lesser defect within the production process itself, and their products are bug-free or defect-free kind of a scenario. More than 40% reported there is improved customer satisfaction when they have these kind of technologies being used within the organization itself. Now that comes across because these new technologies enable the organizations, the manufacturers we will say, to align themselves with their customers or other stakeholders who may be relevant with them, where the data is shared with them, and a lot of information gets disseminated, and then satisfaction levels both within and of course to your customers also improves, giving by those where you get those analysis in terms of satisfaction levels. If you look at a couple of other analysts, let's say GE especially, I mean, so they have a published report which tells you that increasingly we have intelligent machines being used within our organizations, and we have, let's say, people at work using these machines, and of course doing a lot of processes, along with these machines. And then there is a huge amount of data that gets collated across all these machines and the people who may be working with it. Now, increasingly, there is a situation where these data would need to be analyzed in a particular fashion which allows them to improve their efficiencies across different processes. Now, they have published a whole lot of analysis in terms of how it can be done, how it can save in some cases millions also for organizations, larger organizations, and what needs to be done for that and everything. But the basic rule in that particular area, and the basic, I would say, the theme of that particular report was that increasingly the manufacturing organizations would need to go through this transformational shift that we are looking at, and then they would need to get these new technologies, bring in more efficiencies within the organization. Now, that was something that GE also felt as part of their study. Apart from all these new technologies that have come into the organizations, and where our processes itself has undergone a lot of change, another important aspect which may have a bearing for us, let's say as a manufacturing company also, is the evolution of jobs itself in manufacturing. Now, while we had a huge amount of manual activity happening in our organization some time back, this could be some industry-specific activities also, but over a period of time, what we have seen that increasingly people are looking at automating some of these processes. Part of this automated activity has happened earlier, where we have seen that we had some kind of an ERP in place, we had some kind of an automation as part of a manufacturing activity happening in at the workplace itself. But now we have a new economy, I would say, people or generation of users who have come, who require much more information, who would require, I will say, problem-solving techniques and I will say the solutions which will be able to make their jobs much easier, and then also makes it much more suitable to the way they are attuned to. So today, if you look at any of the new generation users, And we are all let's say comfortable with the new smartphones that we work with, and the way we would expect these to help us out in various activities that we may do on a day-to-day basis. A similar kind of an activity or a thought process is what is being looked at by increasing number of users while they are at the, let's say, a production shop floor, or maybe while they are servicing a customer, or maybe while they are on the field doing or talking to dealers or talking to, let's say, other stakeholders itself. Now, to that extent, there's a lot of activity that is happening on the human resources part also. Now, again, this is not purely a HCM activity, because there's a lot of activities that would be happening around people management, especially not purely HCM related, but there's a lot of other technologies embedded or surrounding what people do, and that's something that most of the manufacturing organizations would need to look at when they are working with the new processes in the changed scenario. Now, apart from all those things, we may have some of these processes being automated by some applications that we may have within the organization. Some may be homegrown, some we would have gone for some other applications of different vendors from time to time. Now, one of the common theme when we spoke to a lot of our own customers, we have more than 1 lakh customers and we have spoken to them. One of the theme that has come out that we are not looking at increasingly, it's not as if the solution can do it or not, or the product can provide this particular feature or functionality or not. What we are looking at is moving from what the software can do to a situation where most of the users we will be asking in terms of what the users can do with the software itself. What that would mean that the solutions would need to be more dynamic. It should provide more features. It should be able to provide flexibility in terms of what a user can do with that particular solution, and then how it will be able to provide benefit in terms of efficiency, reductions in cost, and a couple of other areas for the organization and the users alike. Another important area which we also found from our customers was around the mindset itself. Instead of doing one task at a time and then moving to an experience in terms of how I can do this particular activity itself in a better fashion. So we will see when we go to the next a couple of slides more how these processes, some of the processes that we may do at the shop floor level, or let's say at the sales level or the customer level. Now, instead of doing a specific job, how I will be able to enhance the experience not only for me but the organization itself in terms of how it can be done better, how the same information can be used in multiple fashions without duplication of activities itself, and how the information can be made useful to the external guys whom I may be interacting with. Now, that is something that most of the organizations look to change, and increasingly that they are expecting from the new set of solutions, new set of devices that are coming into the manufacturing arena. Some of these will have effects on our organizations also. Now, that would mean that we may have to embrace new technology. Now, whether we are into innovation-oriented company or organization, or we may be into complex markets also, these new technologies would need to be brought into the organization and then would need to be implemented and deployed in such a fashion that the benefit of these can be reaped over a period of time. Now, we also will have other complexities which may have, let's say, multiple enterprise applications being used, not only from one single vendor, but I may be dealing with multiple vendors, and I might have done significant investments in those applications which we might have procured from, let's say, different vendors itself. Now, it could be also like I may have different lines of business, and we may get into new business requirements or new business models. Now, that would have each of these activities will have or the new technologies will have effect on your new requirements or new business models that you may bring in within your organizations from time to time. These also will have, let's say, effects on your customization. Say if you look at what we had done during the 80s and early 90s was to customize the solutions and customize the processes in such a fashion to suit our requirements, which ended up giving a lot of headaches to the organizations from a maintenance perspective, from a cost perspective, and of course moving to the new technologies also. Now, that is something that would need to be addressed by the newer technologies or the newer solutions that are coming into the market, and if you're trying to bring one of those solutions into your organizations, it should be able to address the customization related issues also. And of course, we have other issues from an IT perspective, more from an upgrade point of view, and of course the defragmentation that we might have faced earlier. But that's something that would need to be addressed now, where we will have everything coming on a single platform, and each solution talking to each other, and they are not sitting in silos. I will still will be able to get the data from multiple sources and multiple silos and make a meaningful analysis. Now, these are some of the things that will have effects on your organization when you look at the new technology itself. Now, as an organization, as a manufacturing organizations, how can we seize this opportunity itself? There are two aspects to it. From a technology that may come into picture for most of the manufacturers over here. One is on the IT part, that is the information technology, and the other is on the operational technology. So when you look at the information technology itself, so there are different forces which may be driving the modernization in any of the manufacturing companies. Now that could be related to my value chain visibility, that could be related to my mobile and the connectivity that I may be required. That could even be like, making our organizations much more cloud agile or cloud enabled. So that would mean pushing the organizations towards cloud, making it much more agile and reducing the cost thereby. That could be related to data, where I would want huge amount of data and this should be available to me more from an IT perspective, and reduce the dependency on the IT itself, and of course make it much more customer centric. So that's something most of the organizations would be looking at when they're looking at the information technology improvements itself from a manufacturing standpoint. When you look at the operational technologies itself, there could be various things. It could be, we might have heard about 3D printing, we might have heard about robotics coming into the picture. We may have new product innovation and, configuration tools that may be required and, that may need to be addressed as part of our regular business process activities we may do in the organizations. And also a couple of other areas related to, let's say, I may want a closed loop quality control, for example, or some of the automotive customers may say I would want, let's say, a late stage assembly which may be important for me. Apart from all those things, there could be other areas of operational technology which may be important for us. We might have heard about, let's say, Internet of Things, where we can use the IoT based or IoT aided logistics supply chain management, delivering benefits to the organization. So if you look at the three, I would say top three IT tactics or the operational technology tactics itself, they will be centered in our cloud, your mobility part, having a collaboration capability, and of course using the huge amount of data that your organization may have. And then yet, they should be able to provide you with the capabilities around, let's say, innovation, around automation or the configuration, which you may be expecting the operational front. So these are some of the important things that you would be able to use for seizing the opportunity of modernizing some of the manufacturing processes within the organization. Now, the benefit that the organizations will derive having these kind of technologies coming into their organization, and then, of course, making investments in terms of people, in terms of getting new solutions or using the existing solutions itself in a much better fashion. Now, some of the benefits could be the ability itself to predict maybe the consumer trends, or what could trigger a buying aspect from a customer who may be visiting your site, who may be talking to you, or maybe your existing customer itself, what could trigger the next buying cycle from that particular existing customer. It will provide you, let's say, increased agility to respond to various scenarios that may crop up from time to time within the organizations. Now, it also has a lot of bearing coming in from, let's say, the external conditions that may affect our organizations. Internally, it will improve a lot of cycle times, and it will help your on-time activities which may be required at various levels, not only on the delivery part, but also, let's say, from a financial standpoint, manufacturing standpoints, and procurement standpoints. Now, it gives you all these technologies also will be able to provide you a complete visibility throughout the complete, let's say, value supply chain that you may have within the organization. So that is some of the important areas, I would say, because from a value chain perspective, some of the organizations, I will say, they still have a huge gap in terms of understanding where we stand at this point in time, what is required at this point in time, and whether it is cost benefit for this particular process or not, and all the related metrics that we may be interested in. All these activities will definitely go and of course have a reduced time and cost for launching new products, making new innovations within your organizations, and have a better, I would say, process capability across different processes of the organization itself. So that's some of the benefits that you will be able to derive using the new technologies that we might have talked about till now. Now, let's briefly look at we as Infor, where we stand in this particular area and how we will be able to help you out or help your organization in achieving these activities while you're working, dealing with the new change scenarios itself. Just a brief in terms of who we are. We are the third largest private tech company with a significant amount of customers using our applications or coming into our fold every year. And in the last 1 year itself, that's the new customers that we have got. A significant presence, I would say, across multiple regions, multiple locations across the globe. And of course, almost around 13,000 employees catering to various enterprise-level applications, which may be relevant for different organizations at various levels. So that's something that we are at this point in time. And then we are the world's first industry cloud company. Now, when we say that, we are the first one to bring the specific industry-specific functionalities in a cloud suite for most of the organizations who may require more than one solutions to automate and to have streamlined processes across their organization itself. Now, we pride that we have different strategies, and of course, a couple of them would be useful for the organizations when they try to embrace the new technologies coming into the manufacturing scenario itself. Now, one of the important things would be where most of the organizations, as we discussed earlier, are looking at specific functionalities, features which may be relevant for their business. That would mean that I may be a food and beverage company, I may be a fashion company, I may be an industrial manufacturing company, I may be an automotive company, but my requirements are totally different. Now, we are looking at, let's say, situations where you would want specific solutions to cater to your requirements without much customization. So that's something that we handle as part of our specialized micro-vertical approach. The other areas would be where, we would want to use this data that I might have collected and then provide a platform which will allow me to integrate the data itself across different, let's say, different aspects. For example, I would want to integrate my existing solutions. I would want to integrate my SCADA systems. I would want to integrate, let's say, my digital meters. I would want to integrate with, let's say, RFID or maybe GPS solutions. Or it could be a simple saying that I have a homegrown solution for my weighbridge, and then I would want that to be integrated with the ERP itself. So whatever the integration platform or integration requirements that you may have, increasingly people are looking at that platform, a single platform which will give you the capability, and that's something that we provide as part of the architecture of the internet. Now, while it is doing this kind of a connect capability of integrations, it gives you capability to integrate it with cloud applications, let's say your mobile devices that you may have, and then give you a platform which gives you a complete insight in terms of your process, insights into your organizational working, insights into how people are working or the processes itself are getting delivered to various customers. Now, while these things are happening, increasingly we also focus on how the application should look like and what kind of a flexibility should be delivered to the end user and to the organizations who may be working with it. So that's where we bring in, I would say, the consumer grade experience which most of the people would love to work with. That's something that we build into the standard applications for beneficial of various organizations. Now, when you look at the micro-vertical approach that we took out, we clearly understand what the requirements could be, and we have different verticals, industry verticals and sub-verticals, where we identify the functionalities, and then these functionalities will be able to take care of the requirements of most of the organizations. What I'm showing you on the screen is only a part of it, so there are a lot of other verticals and sub-verticals where these kind of feature functionalities have been provided and has been built into the application itself. The other important area where we have made significant investments and that could be useful for most of the organizations to bring in the new technologies that we just spoke about would be the ION platform. Now, we call it as Intelligent Open Network. Now, what it allows you to do is it's quite intelligent in that way. It understands what your application is and what the other application is, and then allows you to gives you various capabilities to have integration across all these things, and then take this information the data that might have been collected over a period of time across different applications, and then give you insights in the form of, let's say, a dashboard, or in the form of KPIs, in the form of reporting that may be so important for all the organizations. So as a platform, ION is something that will be more useful, where you would have diverse solutions or different solutions coming in, and of course you would want to have a single platform to take care of your mobility, your cloud capability, and of course also the integration at the on-premise level. Now, while we are delivering this, one of the important area that we differentiate, and why we are also bringing in, these kind of a new, I would say, thought process across enterprise applications, is that if you look at any of the, vendors who provide you software solutions, some of them may be functional, they may be useful, they provide you reliable features and functionalities, and some of them may be very stable also. But then what makes a difference is how convenient is it, or how flexible is it for my user to work with it. And then how flexible it is for me to adapt to new changes that will come into my organizations from time to time. Now that becomes important. That becomes important for most of the organizations, because what we have seen in the 80s, in the early 90s also, I would say even till late 90s also, that while they have some of these applications, it doesn't allow them to move forward, because it has tied them to maybe a technology, or maybe the solution is so huge that I can't move forward, or maybe I have done so much of customization that I'm just not able to move forward or make any changes to the existing screens or forms or that way. What we have done is to make it much more pleasurable for the users to work with it. Now that single point itself will be able to increase the adoption level of various applications within the organization. That would mean including the new technologies that are coming in. This could be, let's say, mobile devices, that could be, let's say, the cloud capabilities and things like that. The moment you have much more pleasurable experiences coming in for these applications, okay, you will have a better ROI from the investment that you might have made in those applications itself. And then when you have these kind of details, you will have much more meaningful analysis that can come out of such experiences itself, in terms of what can be done with that application, what it can provide to me, and how I can be in a much more, I would say, interactive fashion, in an interactive manner, can get to do more things from the application itself. So that is something that we have tried to provide as an enterprise application company across different enterprise applications itself. Now it could be, what I need to do. So people may know it's no longer we are looking at situations where somebody will say, I will go to my desk and then see what needs to be done, and I will do it from there. Increasingly, we are looking at sending the information to the users themselves, wherever they may be. Now that would mean specific information which may be relevant for that user. So it's not as if I'm going to bombard him with all the information, but it's going to be very specific information that that particular user would need to do across any process that we may happening on the in the organization itself. I may send it in the form of an alert, or I may send it in the form of a task so that he can do it, and of course gain various information that may be relevant for him to complete the task itself. That is something that we try to provide as part of the standard application. Yet it provides you with various interfaces, which is much modern, which caters to the latest technology that is available, let's say HTML5 and things like that, and also provides you with capabilities to collaborate with various applications and the users alike. And then have a seamless integration across different applications itself, where you will be able to see what is happening, and then of course share this information that you may have across different users and user groups itself. Now while we are doing this, and if it doesn't make any meaningful analysis and give it to you, so most of the organizations fail over there, where if you see the IT team itself is struggling to get the details. So if you have seen the earlier slides that we have looked at, there is an increasing emphasis on where the dependency on IT would need to be reduced. Because most of the times, most of the organizations, if they want some information, though they may have a system in place, but they don't get it ready-made. So what they do, they ask the IT teams, say, give me this report, give me this data, and all this analysis part. That is cost for the organization. Now that is something that we, Infor as an organization, is looking to reduce, so that the dependency on IT team reduces, and then the users will be able to have their own information the way they would want to see it. It could be a dashboard, or it could be a report. So people will just be able to create their own reports and move forward on those areas. So the closing thoughts from my side on this particular aspect. Now, while we are increasingly looking at having challenges coming in at the manufacturing level, but I will say, I mean, so this is going to be an exciting time for manufacturing. Most of the manufacturers that way, because especially in India also we have this make in India kind of a thing, and a lot of emphasis happening across different verticals. We have a very good chance in terms of having an exciting time bringing in new technologies within the organization itself. So what you would need to consider is to have different options in terms of having deployment options, and also the technologies that you think will be more disruptive for your organization, bringing in efficiencies, and that is something that will be able to help shape your organizations to face the future. Now, one of the important aspects I just would want to re-emphasize is around the cloud deployment. A lot of organizations are getting into the cloud aspect of it, where they would want to increasingly go for cloud deployments, reducing the footprint within their organization, having an agile organization, and reducing the cost on the maintenance that may happen from time to time. That will be more relevant for most of the manufacturing organizations. It also offers a lot of agility and the storage that will be required, that may be needed for the organizations as we move forward to incorporate. Let's say we may have a huge amount of customer related information. We may have a huge amount of related data related to our machines itself, and we would want to have our product history and a lot of other information, transactional data, which we don't want to spend money on storing this information, but we would want to put it on the cloud, where Infor will be able to handle the data and the storage related aspects, and of course making you much more agile, not only from an operational standpoint but also from a cost perspective itself. So the best thing I would say, would be to plan your strategy, your investments, your deployments, plans that you may have. You can follow a phased manner approach, and then have some kind of a disruption bringing into your organizations. Have these latest technologies coming in, of course, embrace them, because this is inevitable. We're not going to go away from that, and we have to embrace them and have technologies come in place which will be able to harness all the details or all the capabilities that we may get because of these new technologies, and provide it to the organization and to the users alike, and benefit from the efficiencies that it will bring for our organizations itself. So that's it from my side, and I'll just now give the control to Ajay for him to take us through to the next presentation itself. Thank you for your time, and of course we will take your questions after Ajay's presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Shekhar. Thank you for your time. Hello everyone, my name is Ajay. I'm from Team Etag, so we are a Infor channel partner. So let me just take you through how to we automate your speed. So Shekhar thought about involving the process where we use a lot of smart manufacturing and then bringing in technologies. So we're gonna tell you how we're gonna get you there. So my name is Ajay. I'm part of the technical team at Etag, so I manage application research and development. So we are primarily focused on cloud analytics, and I also work on a couple of info products like Ion Mingle. So to get started, what is Etag? So Etag is a Bangalore-based company. So we have office in Bangalore and US. So we deliver solutions on Infor. We also support a lot of customers on Infor technologies. So we are an Infor India channel partner, and we sell solutions in India. Coming to our team and background, so we have a phenomenally capable team, which is close to 20 years experienced in the ERP space, and we have been rolling out a lot of ERP solutions to customers in India. Another proud fact about Etag is we are only Infor services company, so we don't support any other technology, but we are only focused on Infor. So we sell Infor, we also service all the Infor products. So coming to the products we have in the Infor space, we have a lot of enterprise offerings. We have customer-specific offerings where customer experience, customer relationship management can be improved. We have a lot of product-specific offerings wherein these solutions are very specific to industries. We have a lot of talent management solutions which are more focused on people management. So also we have a lot of technologies in terms of developing custom applications. We also have a lot of integration tools which Shekhar was mentioning about Ion. So we can definitely mix up with any single application and move business information from one system to another. So we also have a lot of analytics tools built in. So in context analytics, which he was mentioning. So the same way we have also Infor BI, which is in the business intelligence platform specific to Infor products. So now coming to the services part, so Etag is a full-fledged system implementation partner. So we implement ERP solutions for all the customers from any vertical. So we do the solution designing, we manage their application support. We are also part of their process consulting where we go through their knowledge processes, business processes, and help them improve the same using automation and technology. So from a platform perspective, we also help users migrate from one version to another, migrate from one platform to another. We are also into the integration space where we connect any Infor application with any other application. So coming to the solutions specific to existing applications, we develop business intelligence tools using Infor Suite, and we also do a lot of unit testing or system testing in terms of ERP, which will increase the performance of an existing system. From a user standpoint, I think we also deliver a lot of user training, product training, where we focus more on the use case scenarios, workflows, approvals, how a particular business case can be implemented in a particular software, and then users get to know about it. From a data management standpoint, we also work on managing, migrating existing data, archiving your existing data. We also do a lot of research in terms of your existing system. So if you have a current system, you want to have a look at it, we'll definitely look at it and give you optimization techniques or tips based on your existing system and what are the pros and cons you can have by moving to your system to an Infor architecture. So these are the key verticals we have been focusing on. So we are primarily focused on discrete manufacturing, wherein we work with a lot of manufacturing companies in India and abroad also, where we have been delivering all the smart manufacturing things which Shekhar was mentioning. So we are primarily have good amount of customers in the aerospace and defense sector as well. So we are also focusing on high-tech electronics, wholesale distribution, this space. So most of our customers, existing customers, come from this area, but we are also looking to expand this into different horizons. But currently our focus is on primarily in the industrial space and the manufacturing space. So why do we have to work with Etag? So Etag, we have a certified, experienced team where we develop solutions completely specific to your requirement in your existing environment. And coming to the team, so the team is very experienced in terms of managing different requirements. So we are an agile and adaptable team. We are primarily focused on delivering results, and the team follows a very entrepreneurial culture or a startup culture where everybody is a risk taker and a problem solver, and they go ahead and solve problems. So it's not like a merely service kind of approach. So these are kind of couple of our customers where we have been working and delivering a lot of Infor services. Curtiss-Wright is one of the global players in aerospace and defense. Antrix Corporation, which is part of ISRO, a Government of India organization, where we are doing Infor LN implementation. And we are also working with a couple of private players in India where we have been implementing Infor LN for manufacturing. So part of the agenda. So we wanted to offer a complimentary solution assessment for all the users. So you can definitely get back to our team. They'll schedule a session based on your availability, and we can definitely walk you through in detail about how we can help you achieve smart manufacturing, or how we can bring in more speed and agility in your existing systems. Yeah, so if anybody wants to meet us, so we are located in Bangalore, and you can definitely, reach us. We'll definitely get back to you. We'll help you with whatever information you need. Yeah, thank you. Over to you, Shekhar.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Ajay. So the floor is open for questions now. Any questions that you may have, either you can put it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself if you, and then of course ask questions. We'll be able to, we'll be more than happy to answer those.
Shekhar, we have one question.
Okay.
We are looking for application customization and support for System 21 PI sent across partner coordinates, preferably around Pune for the same. Coming from Head of IT Business Support from Sandvik Asia.
Sure, we can do that. I mean, say, if you can just send us your email, what we can do is we will get back to you, and maybe we'll also look at what is the version that you're using. Probably if it needs upgrade, and if there are some other areas of interest to you, we will also showcase that particular part, and of course address all the concerns. Okay, there is one question which says, I wanted to know more on ION. Yeah, so just to give you a brief in terms of what ION is Intelligent Open Network. It's a platform that provides you with multiple benefits. It provides you with integration capabilities. We have various connectors that are already available within that, which allows you to connect to different applications and then move the data from one application to different application and vice versa. And then, of course, the same platform allows you to have workflow capability across different applications. It is not application specific. It is, across different applications. So that's something that will be beneficial for most of the organizations, because we have multiple applications being used within the organization. Now, over and above that, it provides you with capabilities around event monitoring. So you define or you can choose what is the area that would be of interest to you. You can write your own small XML, and then of course create some kind of a mechanism where system will automatically trigger the alerts to the respective users of what has happened, and also it can tell you what was supposed to have happened but has not happened, kind of a requirements. And then it also allows you to have capabilities around reporting, where you can have this data being used for your reports, for your building your KPIs, maybe dashboards, and a lot of other benefits which you can have from a transactional perspective. Now, all these things, and of course also gives you a capability around audits, where you can use this information for your audit trail capabilities, which people would want to see in terms of what has happened, when, what transactions was delivered, who has done that, when it was modified, or what kind of changes were made. So you will have a lot of these graphical tools which are available for your audit purposes, which will benefit, I would say, the users and the organization to track various audit-related aspects. So ION, in short, is one single platform giving you multiple benefits, which you will be able to reap. Now, that could be Infor application, that could be within non-Infor application also. So once again, thanks a lot for attending the webinar. If you have any further questions, you can write to any of us, and then of course you also have Etag's coordinates over there. You can get in touch with them also, and then we'll be more than happy to come back and help you out. Thanks a lot, guys.